So we're continuing our special eMoney Tip of the Week live from the LPL Focus Conference, and I'm with one of my good friends and colleagues and one of the people who really helps support our team, Jared Russ, who works in the financial planning department at LPL and really helps our team to build out great financial plans. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to all you do to serve us. But in this course of we're talking about how to build out plans and the tool that our team uses, eMoney, for it, we get sometimes in debates over what's the best way to propose things. And so one of the things that we both said that we hear the most when people are starting to use eMoney as a software is, what's your favorite report? So what we're going to do today is talk about Jared's top 3 reports and my top 3 reports and how we utilize them with the client experience. So Jared, I'm going to turn it over to you to give your top 3.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. I think this is a trick question because isn't your favorite report the Decision Center?
That is so true, and I love the fact you just said that. Amen. Stop stating reports, stay in Decision Center.
Well, there are some really good reports here, and I think part of the value of these reports is certainly being able to dive into the details and also to be able to organize those details and share those with our clients as well. So of the 250 reports here, if I had to choose, and it's going to be really difficult to choose, I'd say one of my top 3 is probably the assets tax type sub-report. So I'm going to go into the assets report, and the default...
That is not the one I thought you would say is your number 1. That's great.
The default is some of the eMoney categories, but I love this tax type category because what it shows me is asset location, not asset allocation. So I can see what's non-qualified, I can see what's tax deferred in those IRAs and 401ks, and I can see where those tax-free assets are, maybe in the Roths or the HSAs. So this allows me to evaluate, do we have a tax time bomb that we need to address? Or what is that legacy going to look like? Am I leaving behind a tax time bomb to my children? So I love this report to be able to get deeper into the weeds on asset location. I think there's a lot of value in tax planning. So recognizing not just how are my investments allocated, but what types of accounts am I using is really, really important. So this is definitely probably one of my top 3, maybe my favorite.
Jared, one of the things you just pointed out there that I love is people don't realize that there's sub-reports under most of these reports. And a lot of times, the sub-reports are some of the best reports out there.
Agreed. Yeah, and this is easily probably one of my favorite sub-reports. So I'll start there. And then another one that I really, really like, there's a lot of really great financial planning softwares out there, but you can tell I love tax planning. There's good value, quantifiable value in income tax planning. I love the fact that this tool, and there's other tools that do it as well, but I love the fact that this tool with eMoney is tax smart. I love the fact that it has the 1040 and it's going to estimate what my tax liability is going to be every year of my life based on what's going on with my cash flows. I also love the fact that it's going to account for some of those other taxes that I might have as well. So really being able to dive deep into the regular federal income tax to see the 1040 or some of the other taxes that might be accountable as well just really helps me evaluate, rather than just estimating I'm paying 25% taxes per year, exactly how much I'll pay in taxes every year the rest of my life, to be able to start planning for my future, trying to mitigate my total or minimize my total tax liability over my lifetime. So I like this report a lot as well. And the last one, and this might be cheating a little bit, I don't know. I don't know about you. My clients love knowing what they were worth. And while I love the title of the net worth statement, I really like the aesthetic of the balance sheet and being able to show them exactly what they own and exactly what they owe at any time. So this one is core for me, whether it's in the client portal, presentation I'm putting together. I think every review needs to start with, here's how much you're worth. And here's how much that's changed since the last time we've met.
I love it. So I just love hearing the top 3. We could debate these ones all day. I think also something might be recency bias. So maybe I use this report the other week, but I have to go, for me, the king is, and I always like to remind people, there's this drop down here, right? But just the other way you can get in here is go reports, all reports. I'm a visual person, so this just lays out, and I've started to learn over time like where everyone is at in here. But one of my favorite reports, and always throws people off, is Ledger. And now I want to be really clear when I say this. I have never used Ledger in front of a client. I would encourage you never to use Ledger. This might be because I was an accounting major in college, so this makes sense to me. But this is really what's going on inside of eMoney. When I always teach eMoney 101, I explain how the software is a cash flow software, and there's different buckets. This also allows you to go see where core spend is. This allows you to see any taxes each year. So you're trying to figure out, why was there a big tax? This is what I always call the problem solving. Like if there's a plan that doesn't seem to work out the way you thought it was going to work out, guess what? It's probably in this ledger report. But there is a sub-report, so I don't know if this counts as my second one, but while I'm on this one, tax events. This is where I go all the time, because if I can't find something, it's usually somewhere in a tax event. But this is really great when you're doing Roth conversions and you're working through that. If you're using the new Roth conversion tool, it's still great to come in here and just to see this and see what the impact is, because you mentioned tax planning is so important. My next report, which is kind of cheating because it's the granddaddy of them all, right? It's like the Rose Bowl of reports, is the cash flow report. And what's so great about a cash flow report is, again, this is what eMoney is actually doing inside of here. When your Monte Carlo is going on, these line items right here are going to be what's going on over and over and over again. And all it's doing is Monte Carlo and the simulation of your return over here and the assets. My engineer clients, that I have a lot of, love this. This is probably the report that people pull up online the most. The one thing I just encourage you when you're talking to a client, make sure they know this is linear. So sometimes if I have a client that really wants to get the weeds on this, we'll override and show like a 4% rate of return, because this is designed around Monte Carlo, so the average or arithmetic mean is probably not realistic as a return on here, but just a great report to go in and show a lot of things, just like our one we did with cash flow. So I do love those reports. And my last report that I want to show you is beneficiary review. So I like to do a beneficiary review with every single client. Oops, I'm about to click on the wrong one. So there's actually 3 different ways you can get to this report, but I always like to go under fact summary, and then I will come in here to beneficiaries. And this allows me, and I like to put this right in the client's vault, to have a great conversation about beneficiaries. I believe we need to have a conversation with clients about their beneficiaries at least once a year. It's one of the things, we all know those stories of somebody that passed away and went to their ex-spouse or went to their brother or whatever else it might be. It's so important, especially when you have minor children, to talk to them about having a testamentary trust, and it's just a great conversation tool. It's a great visual way to look at it. There are other ways to go in here. The other way I'll do is I'll go under estate, under decision center, because you know I like to be in decision center, and I'll pull it up that way. But I find just having an account itemized really helps us out. So there's a lot of great reports. I would love to hear from you what your favorite report is. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, send me an email, and let's debate just like Jared and I, because I'm sure you have a report that's better than ours. Jared, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for supporting us, and thank you for all your team does.
Thank you, Greg.
We hope this tip helped educate and empower you to do more plans for your clients so that you can impact more lives through financial planning. If you have some great tips we don't know about, we'd love to hear about them. If you have a better way of doing what we just showed you, we'd love to hear about that, because we are a noble profession, and together we can elevate the profession.